first. Yes. Okay, now we got this actually working. All right. Hello, everyone. As you just heard, I'm
Turn the slides, sweetie.
Oh. Well, I guess I'm Jonathan Gardner. You already heard what my legal age is. I'm a self-advocate, Flutie Fellow. I'm proud ambassador for Operation House Call, which basically means I mentor co-teachers to help them through their presentations, and also I do them myself as well. I am a board member of Mass Advocates for Children. Really great place, honestly. Cannot think of a better place to be a part of. And a co-chair of the Support Decision Making Coalition in Massachusetts. I also am a cancer survivor, and I also happen to have autism. So, my vision. My vision since the age of 13 was always to help anyone any way I can. I will get into the reason of that in, I believe, the next slide, yes. I began going to soup kitchens with my mentor at the time, as you can see right there, with me on the way to Best.
Let me take this away. And I'm going to click through for you, or do you want to do the slides?
Oh, I'm doing the slides. I'm just going through the...
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Just going through the thing.
Perfect.
I know what I'm doing, even though this is my second time doing it this style.
Honestly.
So, after a little bit, my therapist, who we'll get into who that is in a little bit, asked me to mentor someone at my school that had school refusal. We'll get into why that's important in a little bit. I don't like spoiling things, so don't mind me. So after a little bit, it led me to becoming a skills trainer for the Boston area ARC, where I mentored 2 young adults who happen to have autism. And then after that, I started advocating on the state level and national level for myself and others to live their best lives. So, remember how I said why that one part would be very significant to the next slide? Now we get to the point. So, in that very same school district, I was physically and mentally, well, I was mostly mentally abused in this one by a teacher at the age of 8 because sometime, for some bizarre reason, she didn't believe I actually had autism. She would flick off my hat, off my head, that was in my IEP to have. The other kids would bully me for wearing Sesame Street clothes, because I was into Sesame Street at the time, such as Ernie, Bert, Cookie Monster, which I still have. Then I went to, later on I eventually got out of that school and went to a, was it a sub-separate class? Or?
It was a sub-separate class and a collaborative, yes.
It was a sub-separate collaborative.
Yep.
Then I was able to get there, and I only lasted there for about 9 days because the teacher actually physically and mentally abused me. My mom actually walked in on the teacher physically abusing me, and that was my last day in public school. I was able to help share my story through, I believe it was through a therapist. I believe his name was Dr. Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Dan, nice guy. Long time since I haven't seen that guy. Hope he's doing well. But yeah, though, he helped me put together my story since I was too traumatic to even leave the house for 2 years. So he helped me do that, to put together my story for something else that I almost forgot about. I still can't believe I actually did that. So after a couple of weeks, because my mom had to put everything together, because we were all...
It was many months.
It was many months, really?
It was many months, my friend. Yeah.
It was many months before you met Rick?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. So, it was many months because my mom had to, I assume, like, help us all, like, honestly, like, going through a traumatic event with teachers abusing and everything like that. It's hard, honestly. Eventually, Mom met Rick last minute because she wanted to do something about all the situation, to sue the schools and everything, but unfortunately, we were 2 days short of the statutes of limitations. But he did give us an option that we still see to this day as the better option. He asked us to help with a bill called Restraints and Seclusions. And with my story, we were able to get it passed. And here's a little quote from this guy that I truly do believe to this day. The world only gets better when we all work together. It's the truest statement of all. So, finding my voice and purpose. Advocacy empowered me use my voice and feel like it's actually worth something. Because as a kid, like after going all that way, it doesn't feel like you really have a voice. It doesn't feel like you should have a voice after all of that stuff sometimes. You're too traumatized, you're too thin. You think you're this small, but in reality you're more bigger than you realize. It really helped, honestly, once I started getting into this world, honestly. I started to, give me a sec. One sec, sorry, I just gotta go through all of this. It's been a long week. So I used my voice, I used to feel my voice did not matter to me. And through life experiences, I have realized the importance of my voice. Through advocating at a national or state level to things like this, for example, where you're all listening intently with all my words at every single word I say. So, blah, 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 blah. I have to keep the comedy in because honestly, this is a very dark story with my story, honestly. I find comedy in darkness. So it's the best way, trust me. After the stuff I went through, you guys would understand that. So, I found strength in being a voice for myself and others. I'm ready to advocate for those who are not ready to speak up. And I truly do believe in the equal rights for everyone to live their best lives to the fullest and to their vision. As long as those don't hurt anyone. So, I was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma in 2021. So here's the story of how we found out this diagnosis. At first I was going about my normal day. Me and my mom were going out for a walk and all that stuff, and we basically, we were going about, and then suddenly my leg starts to hurt. And I'm like, that's weird. My mom and I thought it was a Charlie horse, so we decided to get some new sneakers and stuff like that, but that didn't work. We tried ointments, we tried icy hots, we tried all the medical things you could probably think of before we had to go to the doctors. Then we went to the doctors, and multiple doctors said to my mother, not to me, to my mother, even though I was the patient, well, I was 18 at the time, yeah. Yeah. I was the patient, would say to my mother that I should see a psychiatrist, which sounds crazy because my leg was literally more blown up than a balloon. Mm-hmm. Like, legitimately, one was bigger than the other. Mm-hmm. It was ridiculous. You really should put that photo in that for the next time. Yeah. But yeah, though. Hey, you know when I did this
I know.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
It's because you're leading to supported decision making, so that's not, it's not a healthcare really story.
Oh, okay.
You're doing great.
Okay.
Doing amazing, Jonathan.
Okay, sorry. So first, okay, this is a doctor. Later, eventually we found a doctor by the grace of God. Seriously, I do think God was looking out for us on that one. Found and looked me right in the eyes and told me, Jonathan, I do not know what's wrong with you, but I'm going to try to find it out. After that, we set up an MRI, but I couldn't sit still for it because the pain in my back was so much because I had to lie on that flat surface of hard things, but the technicians thought, oh, it must be the autism, or it must be the loud noises, and that's why you can't sit still. When I kept telling them it was the pain. Finally, after another MRI, I was able to finally get sustated to take the MRI, and that is when I found out I had Ewing sarcoma. Mm-hmm. That was a total of 3 MRIs, and this entire process that I just went over took over 5 months because they were so focused on the fact that I had autism over the person in pain, which is why Operation House Call is important to me. So, supported decision making is what is this mystical slide? Well, it's something called supported decision making. Supported decision making is an alternative to guardianship where the person, me, picks a group of people they trust to help them make decisions. So, you're probably wondering about all these random people with me in all these photos, except for this one where it's clearly my mother. But, so I'll only go over like 2, 3.
Yeah, 2 is good. for
2 is
now.
good? Okay, so since everybody usually likes this one, I'll do this one first. Do you see? No, you do not. I'll do the one.
You can point to him.
Yeah, the one in the middle, top second. Well, the one that says wingman and friendship. That guy is Adam. Now this guy, oh man, there's a lot of good things I can say about this man. He is honestly one of my best friends, and I could have never asked for a better friend than him. Bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And
And what else does he do?
he's also my skills trader as well. And honestly, let me think.
Can I tell you one thing about Adam too? He is a graduate of the Regional Leadership Series. I think
Oh, I
2 or
didn't know
3
that.
years ago, perhaps he went through, and he is a great guy. You're right.
He is.
He's a really great guy.
He always wants to learn, and honestly, a great advocate for his field. Honestly,
Yeah.
and a great
And
job coach as
What
well.
does he do, like tonight, what are you guys gonna, what does he do every week for you?
Well, he usually takes me out to run errands for you, but
Well.
Hey, you asked.
I did. And he takes you out in the community, you
takes
guys
me-
go for dinner, and you have fun,
yeah,
and he's your wingman, you
Yeah.
call him, why?
because he's the one that I go. Well, sometimes we'll go to relationship advice for,
Yeah.
which I still haven't. But now to the next one.
Yeah.
Because if I did tell stories, I would probably be kicked out.
No, you don't wanna share any personal information with me.
That's why I said I wanted.
Yes,
That's
okay.
why I said I wanted. You get the chair.
Yep. you're doing
Next,
great, buddy.
I'll do this person over there because that's the one I see. So my mother. Oh my God. There are many things I can say about you. All of them are nice.
Oh, that's good, honey.
Seriously though, when it came to my cancer stuff, you were always there in the foxhole with me. Like, to the point of like, here's the thing, like I remember even before then with the school stuff, she used to stay up nights with me just to help calm me down and everything like that after all the PTSD that I had to receive. And yes, I do have PTSD from all that stuff. Like through stuff to, even still now helping me with all that stuff. So many things that I would be here all day speaking of, but I'm pretty sure later on you'll get to hear it. There's also one more, but that one's saved for later. So, I am the decision maker in my life. So, how does that work? For example, I usually like to explain support decision making like a company or a business. Like, for example, I'm the CEO of my private owned company. Private owned company meaning Jonathan Gardner's life. But then I have supporters that are similar to subordinates, where they can come up to me with ideas, but I can either shoot them down or go somewhere else, or I can go to them with the idea. And if I really want to do it, I can do it. Or if they have an either alternative or other thing, then yeah, I can do it that way. I think that's a good way of explaining it.
Yeah.
Excellent way
It's
of
an excellent way of explaining it.
Yeah.
Thanks, I always like businesses. I view supported decision making in my fight against cancer, my mental health, and most aspects of my life today. Supported decision making gives me the freedom to make my own choices with support when I ask for it. Like, for example, what I'm doing right now with my mom. Supported decision making allows me to stay in control of my own life. Supported decision making is not a replacement for guardianship. It is an additional, less restrictive option. It gives people another choice. It's just an alternative. There's always going to be a need for guardianship, like there's going to be a need for supported decision making. There's the keyword, alternative. And like in every great business, there needs to be an alternative.
Yeah.
So, how did I get started with supported decision making? So when I was 16, the school said I should get full guardianship because I was on medication. This didn't feel right to me and my mom, so we decided to do some research. By me, I mean her. And she found out about supported decision making and decided to try it in my life thanks to, well, Sandy. So she went to one of her workshops. And then she brought my father.
She's down the back.
Yeah. And then they brought the information to me, and I basically asked, so this is basically what we're doing already? And they just both looked at me and said, pretty much. And that is how we started with it. I started off with choosing my supporters. The first supported decision making only included my mom, my dad, and my brother. But over time, my team has evolved, as you could previously see. And I can never be more grateful for it, honestly. It opened up a lot of connections for me. Now then, let's talk about putting this thing to the test. So, when I was going through cancer, and when we found out after all of that, we had to go see the oncologist for the first time. And I still feel bad, so much bad for this guy to this day. So me, my mom, and dad made a plan together. We planned on, give me a sec. Sorry, my brain's just being fun today.
So we planned on how we were gonna best get the information to you, and how did that work?
So the best way to get the information to me would work is, one, if I would say, for example, get overwhelmed, I would leave the room to process all the information and then wheel back, because I was in a wheelchair at the time, back in, and my mom, with the help of the doctor, would explain the situation to me, and with my father as well. Sounds like a great plan, right? Like, all that stuff sounds pretty good. There was just a couple of problems with this plan that we clearly overseen. One was the fact that this was during the height of COVID, so you can probably imagine the physical restrictions. 2, 3 people during COVID would have to be in the room. And finally, we've got to tell the doctor the plan. We go in there, my mother works her black magic to get us all in. I will always refer to it as black magic. It saves time and everybody gets
I
it.
advocated.
Advocated black magic, it's tomato. So from there, we get into the room and the doctor comes in and sees a guy over 18, 2 other people in there. And well, after explaining the situation, it seems more reasonable, but after a little bit, my brain needs to take some time out, because here's the thing, when it comes to cancer, it's just like, boom, your life has to go in order now. Like, we only had like a week after I found out to go meet this guy and all that stuff. But yeah, eventually, so after a little bit of explaining about everything and all that stuff, the doctor decided to take a huge leap of faith on me and decided to allow me to go out and just process all the information and then be wheeled back in. I can never be more grateful to this man for that, and I thank him so much still to this day. Then I was wheeled in. My mom, with the help of the doctor, would explain the situation, and then it was go time. And honestly, they really helped out and started to get to know us as human beings and started to understand why we do things the way we do. All right, next slide. So, fighting cancer has been one of my hardest journeys of my life. So then 6 months into chemotherapy and 31 days of consecutive radiation during that time, I broke down one day. My body, my mind were feeling horrible and hopeless. I came home after a radiation day and just went up in my room and just started bawling my eyes out. My mom eventually came in and asked what was going on. After a long rant, I basically said, I don't care what happens to me. I just want it to stop, even if it causes the tumor to kill me. My mom had to take time to process this all herself. But eventually she came back, not as my supporter, but as my, not as my supporter, I mean, not as my mother, excuse me, and not as Nancy Garner, but as my mother. She said, I mean, as my support person. Sorry, my brain's
It's
funny
okay,
today.
honey. You're doing great.
She said to me, Jonathan, I do not know what the answer to this all is, but if you could put your faith in me, I'm going to try my hardest to find out. Then we contacted our medical team, and from there,
You gave permission
I gave
for me to talk
permission.
to them.
And I gave permission to my mom to talk to them, and from there, she and the medical team worked together to come up with a plan for me, and then brought it back to me.
Did you want to listen to the plan?
Oh yeah, I didn't want to listen to the plan, so I just left the room afterwards.
Yeah.
From there, give me a sec. From there, after all of that, my mom came back with a couple of plans for me to look over, talk to a couple of supporters, and through there, I was able to pick a plan that ultimately saved my life and took care of my mental health at the same time. So, if I did have guardianship in this case, there's 3 scenarios that could have happened. Let's say it's my mom, and the same way, probably the exact same way would have happened, and we probably would have ended up switching the sport decision making once we found out about it. Next is, for whatever godforsaken reason, my mom decided to force me into treatments and everything like that. Could you imagine what type of relationship we would have right now? Like, you see the back and forth and everything like that. I think we both know that would have been gone in an instant. From there, and for the final one, with guardianship, there's a funny thing about it. We don't get to choose who the guardian is. A court does, a judge does. We don't. And no offense to any judges or anything like that, but it's my life. I believe I should have some say in who oversees it, so that way I can get the best possible care possible. All right, next one. So, remember when I said there was going to be one more supporter, but we were going to save that for later? And the later is now. So, this guy is called Mr. Stickme. And Mr. Stickme and I have a funny relationship. Originally, it started off as a business partners. Business partner to an extent, I guess. Where I was a baker, and I would deliver him some stuff. Yes, I used to be a baker, believe it or not. 1/3 place, almost stuff with pies. But yeah, though. So, support decision making helped me navigate some life, and eventually, over time, this is the perfect example of support decision making, actually. Over time of me, I'm a shy person, so at first I wouldn't leave the car. I would just deliver the pie.
Can I back you up just for a
Please
second?
do.
So, can you tell everyone how you got connected to Mr. Stickney?
Yes. So, my therapist, Mrs. C.
You would bake pies for
I would
her.
bake pies for her because we were real good, apparently.
Yep, and she loved your pies. And then she had,
She had a friend over, this guy, Stickney, and he really liked it, and he asked where she got it from. And she mentioned my name, and from there we got connected, and we started by delivering pies. At first, I was a little bit shy, so I didn't really leave the car, but over time, things got to more stuff where eventually it was, hey, let's go deliver a pie into the front door and talk a little bit, to, let's go talk a little bit in his house, to, let's just forget the pie and just go over.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and eventually we just built a friendship. Like, he's my financial guy since he was a financial advisor, so he always talks about a little bit of finance with us. So that's always nice to have. And over time, I grew to trust and like Mr. Stickney so much so that I asked him to be my financial advisor when it came to my support decision-making agreement. And that was a really great day, honestly. Like, I truly do see him as one of my best friends. So.
and what kind of things do you do with Mr. Stickney?
Now we're just like buds. Sometimes we go see movies together. Sometimes we just talk. Shoot the stuff, and Hey, I'm trying to keep this PG, people.
And how did that develop? Because what did you build?
We build a rapport or a connection. Over time, we basically became just friends, like honestly, like all that stuff. Over time, we got to know each other as, well, human beings.
Yeah.
And for that, we became more friendly over time, and we just became really good friends. That cover that all?
Yeah, you built trust with him.
And-
It was
and we
someone
built
that
trust.
Jonathan,
Yes, I can explain.
go ahead.
So you probably hear through everything I've done, like I pretty much have a lot of trust issues. I'm pretty sure you can all kind of gather all of that. So for me, it takes a long time for me to trust someone, or even to ask if someone should be a part of my support decision-making agreement, for example. Like that takes an extreme amount of time. But whatever. For this, I know for a fact, like Stickney will always be true to what he is and what he believes in, and I truly value that, not only in a person, but especially in a friend. And honestly, I can never be more grateful to the guy for that. Anyways, if you want to learn about support decision making, here's some websites you can learn about it. Supportdecisionmaking.org. I'll give you guys